Okay. Hola, all angels. Um, Boy, this was complete guidance, and we'll see how this turns out here. I'm I should never do this. Just before I came on, I was listening to a share from Eckhart, and he was talking about language and how it's just speaking in languages can be quite confusing. And it was very interesting, but it kind of took me out of the guidance from where I was supposed to be looking. Anyway, I'm going to share just a few sentences. It's enough to get us through today. And it's from chapter 6, The Alternative to Projection. Okay. The Holy Spirit extends and the ego projects. Okay. And the Holy Spirit extends love. Extension, the only thing that you can talk about when you're talking about extension is love. And the ego projects fear. That's the only thing you can project. And this is, I mean, if you can get this one sentence, you've got the whole Course in Miracles. Basically, we're either extending love or we're projecting our fear. The next sentence. As their goals are opposed, so is the result. Okay, so let's, and this is, I don't know where, it was a while back. I talked about the split desire. Like if you have a split desire, you can't do anything. Well, this is another way of saying that split desire. We're either extending love or we're projecting our fear. That is a split desire. And as it says in the second, their goals are opposed. So the result is nothing. It cancels itself out. So you can't get to seeing all through love by projecting fear and extending love. It just cancels itself out. And then you just sit in a puddle of confusion, which is fear. Okay, this is, I don't know, there's about 4 sentences here. The Holy Spirit begins by perceiving you as perfect. Knowing this perfection is shared, my words, by everybody. Holy Spirit recognizes it in others, thus strengthening it in both. Now the pronouns get a little disturbing in here, but let's kind of go back on this one. The Holy Spirit begins by perceiving you as perfect. That's pretty clear. And that's what the Holy Spirit wants for us, is to see our perfection. It's the only reason we're here, is to see our perfection. Now, knowing this perfection is shared because everything and everything we see in the horizontal is perfect. But now we don't see it that way. Because we'll go into that later. So, but the Holy Spirit begins by perceiving us as perfect. Holy Spirit knows this perfection is shared. And so Holy Spirit recognizes it in others, which is what Holy Spirit is attempting to teach us. And as we recognize perfection in others, We thus strengthen it in both. Okay. So as I extend love to everybody, it is strengthened in everybody I extend it to. Okay, next, the last sentence. Instead of anger, this arouses love for both because it establishes inclusion. Okay, instead of anger, this arouses love for both because it establishes inclusion. Okay, so I'm going to share a little thing that happened to me. Oh, I don't know, can't remember when it was, this week. And maybe I did share it. I have no idea. Okay, you know, love thy neighbor as thyself. Okay, that came up as a topic. And what I was immediately slapped in the face by, I mean, it was like, it took my breath away. It really did. Love thy neighbor as thyself. I've heard this forever, but this time it slapped me in my face. Love thy neighbor as thyself, capital S. Okay, so one of the things that continues to trip me up, and I keep coming back and bring it back quickly, but this love thy neighbor as thyself, capital S, yeah, I'm a hyper vigilant corrector. That's how I learned to think, which is, I don't recommend it for anybody, but that's just the way I learned to think, by correcting what wasn't perfect. I didn't see everybody's perfection. So in this share, love thy neighbor as thyself, it was always with a small s. So the way that I was seeing everything was something needed to be corrected. But now, love thy neighbor as thyself, capital S. I'm not needing to correct with my capital S. There is nothing to correct. I can actually see these few sentences that I started this session out with as the way I am seeing more and more and more right now. I'm able to extend love to that which previously in my small s mind I was attempting to fix. There was something always needing to be fixed. I don't see anything that needs to be fixed anymore because there's nothing that is broken. There is no correction needed. And then this last sentence, instead of anger, this arouses love for both. So in that idea that I need to correct something, there was always anger. This is not okay. This needs to be different. That's the way my anger would come out. And it came out in this whole idea of wanting the world to be different, which is massive correction. It's my projecting. I want massive correction, which was my fear that it was going to just be the way it was, which was not okay in my mind. So if I could see the world as perfect, and I was thinking about this earlier this morning, seeing the world as perfect without anything needing to be changed. And I see this, and the way that this has come about is to see that everything is a lesson I must learn. Everything is a lesson, and I can only address it from my perspective, but I guarantee if you could see everything as a lesson you must learn, it will alter this desire to see anything as different. It's just a lesson. It's just a lesson that I need to correct in my thinking. There's nothing to do here. It's just to love the lesson. Love the lesson. Don't try and change the lesson. Just love it and allow my mind to see it differently, not from my small s, something needs to be corrected here. There's nothing that needs to be corrected. I just need to allow myself to get the lesson that I have no desire to change anything, because everything is a lesson somebody needs to learn. This came up in a kind of a funny other way yesterday. I don't usually talk politics ever, but it was in the car and they were all talking about Trump. And I say Trump is the most incredible lesson for most of the people I know, okay? Because most of the people I know only see that Trump needs to be corrected. And the reality is, no, this is the greatest lesson in learning how to love. And this is totally vertical. There is no horizontal, because see, what happens is the horizontal world gets hooked into, yeah, but what if he sets off a nuclear whatever? It's like, no, I'm vertical now. There's nothing to fear because I trust God's got me. I don't have to fear anything in the horizontal because God's got me. And so all there is to extend love to this concept called Trump. Because he's a lesson, he's the greatest lesson for me in just allowing him to be whoever he is and love him in spite of what I think. Because here, again, as I'm loving, as the very last sentence of this, okay, knowing we're perfect and this perfection is shared by everybody, instead of anger, this arouses love for both because it establishes inclusion and thereby strengthens love in both. You know, this is that whole idea of the more you resist, the more it persists. And this is just dropping into the Holy Spirit mind, knowing Holy Spirit only sees perfection, knows all is perfect, and then only extend love. There's nothing to change. There's just a lesson I would learn to love deeper, to love deeper. And as I love deeper, this strengthens love in everything I am extending to. So the more I resist concepts like Trump and attempt to change them, that resistance just builds more anger and exclusion. Whereas I drop into, okay, this is just a lesson I would learn, and the only lesson I would ever learn is to love more fully, to not see differences that need correcting. And these are skills, and this is a huge skill. And all I can say is it's a skill that we practice. It's like playing the piano or any instrument. You've got to practice this. So as you see yourself wanting to make anything or anyone wrong, or wanting to improve them by correcting them, then we drop into this ability to learn how to use the mind differently. You know, we're born into the world, the horizontal world, and most of us did not have Eckhart Tolle as a father. And so we learned from, I'll speak for my own family, we learned from fearful parents, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with it. I really got how to see fear, which allowed me to see that I wasn't coming from a place of love, which is actually a really good thing. Because now it's like, I know when I'm in fear. I don't really need to spend much time wondering, am I happy? I know it pretty well. And I know when I'm not happy, there's only one thing to do, to ask for help, to see it differently, completely, as a lesson I would learn so that I can see everything as just an opportunity to love and not make it wrong. Oh boy. I've dropped off the edge of the cliff and I'm dragging you guys along with me. And all I can say is, I get who you are in this Zoom room. And if you're watching this Zoom on YouTube, you know, you were guided to this. And so I'm going to drag you off the cliff with me. And instead of falling down, we're going to fall up. Instead of seeing anything that needs a correction, it's just allowing it to be and love it exactly as it is. And it's every time, and this takes practice. It's all I can say. Last over a decade, I started this and I'm still doing it, but I get how it is assisting me in being the love that I've always wanted to be. Because I'm practicing extending only love. Because if I'm projecting fear, I'm just building the fear in me, the fear of me, that part of myself that I don't care for, that part of myself that I want to be different. But when I drop into a deeper state of just loving everything, it's like I get to see my perfection exactly as I am, without needing any changes or embellishments or correction or anything. Actually, okay. So if you find yourself having a difficult time loving everything, this is what Jesus says next. You are inviting atonement automatically because atonement is the one need in this world that is universal, which is this whole idea of prayer. Inviting atonement is to pray to be released from fear and reestablished as love. So by inviting the atonement in this process of really learning how to see everything differently through the eyes of love, and that's why I say this can happen 1,000 times a day, and for me that's pretty much been the case, of requesting atonement from Holy Spirit. Oh my God, Holy Spirit, there's another thing that I want to change. And then it's dropping into prayer, accepting the atonement automatically. I don't even have to think, oh dear, I slipped up. I immediately go into prayer. And that's what it's saying right here. Inviting atonement automatically because atonement is the one need in this world that is universal. There is no universal need that I could ever have put my finger on. I'm wondering what you're doing, Daphne. Wow, that was a wild image. That's all I can say. Anyway, so accept the atonement. I think the lesson is accept the atonement minute by minute, if that's what's necessary, because that's the skill that we all need. And it's a universal skill. No matter what our script is, the need that is the same is accepting the atonement and requesting to see it differently through the eyes of love. Okay? So with that being said, and I'll just put this out to YouTube land again, you can join the Zoom group. Message me. Messenger is the easiest way to do it. I'm on Facebook and I'm on Messenger, and just make a request to get the link to the Zoom room. And we meet 3 times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at noon, Guadalajara time. And because, what I find is the work that's being done in the Zoom room after, I share whatever I share is really miraculous. That's, it's just miraculous. It's exploding, cascading miracles. That's what I see about the people in the Zoom room. So if you want to join us, message me. I'll send you the link, and you can join us for the most important part of this message, which is joining with others that are really grappling with how to see everything through the eyes of love. Okay? So with that, bye, YouTube land.